Hey, this is Tor Allen from Solar Schoolhouse. Today I'm going to walk through the new instructions for our solar notebook, the NB42B model. These keep evolving. So today I'm going to walk through those instructions. Um, Here's what it looks like. It's two solar modules or solar panels, one USB car charger, and two coroplast binder materials. So the additional materials for this project, there's, like I mentioned, two solar panels at 8 volts, 400 milliamps each. I've got some double-sided foam tape, some heat shrink tubing, a couple zip ties, a USB car charger, some coroplast for the binder, and some wire nuts if we need it. Some tools needed for this. We'll need a ruler, a heat gun, or a blow dryer, soldering iron and some solder wire stripper cutter, snap blade, or a utility knife and a Sharpie. Some things that you should provide is either 3-inch wide duct tape, or we can make it work with 2-inch wide duct tape as well, and some clear packing tape and a helping hands up there at the top if you have it. Again, you can make it work without that, but it's really helpful to have. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare the solar panels by putting a foam tape square in each corner and also in the middle as shown in this picture. So basically you peel off, first thing you should do though is peel off the silver sticker with the volts and amps information and then put that on the outside cover of the coroplast because that has a reference to the specs of the solar panel. And once you adhere this to the binder material, you won't be able to see it. So peel that off and put it on the outside, the colored side of the coroplast. And repeat that for both panels, putting the foam tapes in each corner. So the next thing to do is flip them over so that you see the white side of the coroplast. They should be about 9.5 inches by 7.5 inches. And we're going to mark where to cut a circle in the coroplast. You can see here, first mark it left, L for left and R for right. And then measure down about from the top, about 1 3/4 inch. And then 3 inches over to the left side or to the edge. And then about a 1.5 inch diameter circle around that point. Do that on both sides, the left and the right. Then using the snap blade or utility knife, just carefully cut the outer layer of the coroplast to reveal the inner channels. And I'll show you another view of that. Here's cutting through. So you're not going to want to cut all the way through the coroplast, just like at an angle. So you're cutting that one layer on the white side to expose the channels. Here's another view. So you cut that all the way around the whole circle. Once you've done that, take one of the panels and thread the pair of wires from the solar panel through one of the lower exposed channels. So on the left panel, that should be going towards the right. And then on the right panel, the R panel, thread the wires to the left. Basically, you're going to thread them towards the seams. We'll see that here in a second. The next thing you should do is peel off the protective paper off the foam tape and secure the solar panel to the coroplast. And it'll look like this. So one thing you might want to be aware of is to leave about a 1/4 inch space between the solar panel and the outer edges of the coroplast. And then you can see that for the left side, that's on the left and upper left corners, and then on the right it's the equal distance from the edges, so that when you close this into a binder, that the panels will be touching each other symmetrically. And then you can see a wider channel down the middle of the coroplast, and that's where we're going to put a seam. So moving on to creating the seam. So if you have 3-inch wide duct tape, that will make this easier, but you can also use 2-inch wide duct tape. The 2-inch wide approach is basically putting two pieces of duct tape and then overlap them a little bit so that the total width of the duct tape is 3 inches wide. Okay, so I don't think it says here, but the piece of tape that you're going to want is about 18 inches long. No, 17 inches long, sorry. Here we are. Correction. So 17-inch long piece of tape, lay it down on the table with the sticky side up, and have it, the top sticky part of the tape about 2 inches above the coroplast. So you'll have, there's a 2-inch wide spacer, coroplast spacer that will place in the middle of the tape about 2 inches down from the top of the tape. Does that make sense? Should look at the picture here. And then lay the left and right solar binder pieces on the tape as shown, so it's lined up. Press down. So the next thing you do is remove the spacer. Just peel that up. And then fold the duct tape over the top and the bottom and secure the seam, pressing down. Press snug fit, just press down so it's all attached really nicely to the tape. The two wires from each solar panel will be exposed still, as seen here. Next thing you'll do is peel using a fingernail, just peel the red and black wires apart, and peel them apart about 4 inches down on both of the wires. Next thing, you get your wire strippers and about 1/2 inch off the ends, strip about 1/2 inch of insulation off each of the wires. And the 20 AWG slot on the wire stripper works pretty well for this size wire. Next thing you'll do, and I'll show a video of this in a second, but is to twist the red wires together. There's one red wire from one panel and one from the other panel. So twist those, the reds together and the blacks together, and then tin them. And I'll show you what that means in a second. But tinning is basically adding some solder to the wires before you attach those wires to something else. I'm going to show you still pictures here before I show the video, but basically we're adding a drop of solder on the, you can see on the sidebars of this USB charger. Those are the negative terminals, and the center tip is the positive terminal. So we'll add a drop of solder on one of the sidebars and also on the tip. Helping hands are useful in this situation. I would recommend adding a small piece of clear packing tape around the USB charger body and to overlap onto the silver area, because when you're soldering the tip, sometimes it may get hot and melt the plastic USB covering. And the tape there will hold it all together if that becomes an issue. We have a remedy for that in a minute in case that plastic piece completely falls apart, but it should hold it. And then you just solder the red wires to the tip, that's the positive, and the black wires to the sidebar. And I'll show you the video here. So here you see we're going to first tin the wires by placing the wires down on a piece of cardboard or wood, and then pressing down on the iron with some solder. And there you have solder in the wires. So the next step is to put the USB card charger on the helping hands, and then put a little drop of solder on one of the sidebars and also on the tip. The tip might be a little hard because it tends to roll off, but there you can see it will stick. Next thing to do is to attach the pre-tinned wires to the sidebar. It's easier since they're already got solder in both pieces. And then also on the tip with the red wire. And then you just take away the solder iron when they cool, test for snugness, and you should be done. So the next thing is option 2, in case the plastic case on the USB card charger melts beyond holding anything together. So then you might want to take, this is only if that happens. This is option 2, where you can take the faceplate off the USB card charger and then peel off the plastic covering of the card charger to expose the inside. This is what you'll see. Same thing here, put it on the helping hands if you have them, and then solder a drop of solder on the center piece, that's the plus terminal, and then one of the sidebars, another drop of solder, that's the negative terminal. Then add your black wire to the sidebar, take the iron away, let it cool, and then attach, test for snugness. Same thing with the red wire in the center. And so you don't need to feed new wire into this since both pieces have been tinned. And you've got that ready. So that's what that'll look like. Again, this is option 2. I'm throwing it at you just in case the USB plastic cover melts for some reason. Then you can just take it off and go this route. Put a piece of heat shrink tubing over the top, and you're ready to shrink the tubing with a heat gun or a blow dryer. Put a piece of cardboard underneath this to protect the rest of the binder from the heat. And that shrinks and holds everything all together. It's not waterproof, so don't believe that, but it is holding all the wires and the US card charger together. And that would be ready to put on your solar notebook as well, if you come to this. Okay, so back to where we have the wires soldered to the USB charger with its case. We're now going to slide the piece of heat shrink tubing over the whole charger. And then you'll see there's a note there saying that if you've wired this correctly and there's some ambient light on the solar panels, the blue LED indicator should light up, indicating that you've completed the circuit correctly. So the next step is to slide the heat shrink tubing over the USB charger and warm with a heat gun or blow dryer to melt it, or shrink it rather. And so next we're going to put it all together by adhering this to the seam in the notebook. So we're going to put it up near the top. Using your Sharpie, make a mark on either side as shown, and then make a cut using the snap blade about 1/4 of an inch slot. Then you slide the zip tie through one of the holes and back through the other. Wrap it around the USB charger as shown, pull the zip tie snug, and then cut the excess off with your wire cutters, and then tuck that edge towards the seam because it will be a little bit sharp. This is another view of that process. Next step, you'll see a lot of excess wires there in the middle, so you'll want to get another piece of duct tape, however long you need, to cover up the exposed sticky part, and then just cover up that section, putting the wires underneath the duct tape and up and around the USB charger. And then tap it down to make it snug. You're almost done. The last step would be to peel off the protective film off the solar panels, and you're ready to go. I will say that the protective film you could leave it on for protect against scratches and such. It's not going to reduce the amount of sunlight that's powering your phone or power bank. So last step might be to decorate the outside of the cover with some designs and messages, and then be sure to share your creation with friends, family, classmates, and of course, charge a cell phone or USB power bank with this new practical solar charger. Thanks.